All right, we're back. Kamala Harris, Orange Man, the election. This is something that we've kind of tried to. Well, we haven't really tried to. It's something that we try to stay away from, but I think there's enough of a demand, and I think there's enough. I think there's definitely enough people that want to know what we think.
I think so too.
Like, personally, I have no, no dog in this fucking race. I don't care who wins. I don't think it matters who wins. I've seen how they've tried to, turn. Here's the thing. When it comes to this race, when it comes to Kamala versus Trump, they're trying to get a lot of the dumbest voters to take part because it hasn't really been a very entertaining race. Like 2016 with Trump, and even the one before that, the election cycles have been pretty entertaining, have they not?
Yeah, they have. I can agree. This one's completely
Mm-hmm.
lost its edge, right? I don't think anyone can really disagree that the hype, that the interest isn't really there. Now, that could just be a personal thing because I'm not paying attention to it. And I'd imagine you're paying significantly less attention to it than maybe you were in previous years. The 2020 one, I think everyone was kind of keeping an eye on that one simply because of COVID and things like that. It was a little bit more of a unique and interesting spectacle to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And I think the one prior to that, Trump came in there and it was the new guy. It was the new guy. And that was a point where he was positioning himself as an outlier to the standard political archetype, right? And he was exhibiting certain behaviors that you hadn't previously seen in something like an election for the president of the United States of America. And he was positioning himself as a doer and not just a sayer. And I think that pulled a lot of people in. But then slowly as time went on, he kind of just unraveled himself to be just like everyone else, just like any other fucking political candidate ever who has never backed up what they say. It's all just a big charade. It's all just a big show. And I think people have kind of locked into that now. People have kind of taken note of that and the excitement's not there anymore. And yes, as you've stated before, I think he does have dementia. That is something that I do agree with I think you started that. Because I'm seeing,
I said that shit a while back, man. Now everyone's talking about him having dementia.
I'm seeing like legacy media, like CNN reports and shit, speculating that he may or may not have dementia. But I think that guy's fucking toast. I think he's lost his edge. I think the tantrum he threw after after losing the 2020 election, saying it was rigged and all that shit. Now look, game is everything. We understand this. We talk about that. That was just some fucking weak shit that I think people don't forget that shit, right? People might not know that is why they don't have the same amount of enthusiasm behind that guy, but that stuff means something. People are kind of like a little bit off this guy and his behavior and his antics. They've gotten old. They've gotten tired. He's done nothing he said he was going to do. He said Hillary was going to be in jail. He ended up in jail. The wall didn't get built. He's fucking he does a stupid dance. He's more orange. He's looking old. He's woofing McDonald's hamburgers. I think the fucking gimmick has died, and I think everyone can agree with that. It's not cool anymore. It's not funny. He's not dishing out zingers and zappy with the comebacks. No, not even close. It's not what it used to be. It's tired and old now. And everyone's feeling it. And there's a couple people hanging on. There's a bunch of dumb fuck normies still hanging on, thinking Trump's the savior and he's going to do all this shit. But he's just another fucking clown. And I think everyone who was previously apolitical or not very involved got pulled in 2016 because they thought this guy was different and he was bringing a new excitement to the political sphere and the elections and shit. But now that's just tapered down and everyone's seeing it for what it really is.
Yeah, pretty much. The guy has just lost all his luster. You can find edgier shit, on Twitter than you can with Trump. You got to remember, like, now that everyone can say Nazi this and fucking nigger that and make fun of fucking minorities and make fun of gays openly, when a guy like Trump comes out and says some, in quotation marks, based shit, it doesn't register anymore.
He needs to say nigger now to be cool.
Mm-hmm. But you see what I mean? Like, it's funny that it's Elon Musk that's on his side. I've always thought this was funny because I think Elon Musk is actually the person that's going to cost Trump this election. Because as soon as he opened up Twitter, the shock value, the fucking the based value of Trump went so down because now everyone's saying this type of shit that you would expect Trump to say now. So when you see him talking all this shit in these town halls and these little meetings and these little fucking interviews with Joe Rogan and all this shit that's going to be popping up soon, he's not saying anything that we haven't heard ad infinitum, ad nauseum for the last fucking, however long it's been since Musk opened up the floodgates on saying this fucking unhinged, demented shit. And it's funny that it's a guy who's got dementia that is saying all this shit, and like his diehard fans are more demented than he is. Do you see what I mean? Like, he's like this old boomer now.
At saying the edgy shit. It's just not hitting as hard. Previously, we were under a lot of censorship. So previously in 2016, 2020, the stuff he was saying was at the cutting edge. It was edgy. It was shocking. He was saying the thing that people think but don't say. But now he's just another fucking boomer, and he's done too many media appearances. No one cares anymore. It's old. Who even likes this guy anymore?
No, I don't think any. Like, who? I was reading all these stats, black people are like Trump, and you ask them who they're going to vote for, and they say Trump. It's like, yeah, but are they actually going to show up and vote? Or are they just going to be fucking riding their 6'4" Impalas through the hood and fucking crip walking on the day of the election when they, and then the next day they're like, oh shit, snap! The new fucking, the new president, who is it? Oh shit, it's Kamala, we fucked up. Next time, cuh.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to happen. This is all bullshit. It doesn't matter who the blacks are going to vote for because the blacks aren't going to vote. And any black who's got money isn't going to vote Republican. And they're the only ones who are likely to vote, so who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. Kamala is going to fucking win. I've never been more ardent in my approach to this. I really think Kamala is going to win. I said it from the fucking beginning. And I think one of the things that they're doing in order to pull dumber and dumber people into this is by making everything a single issue voter. They're trying to make people single issue voters because the only guys who are right wing are voting for Trump is because he's going to pump Bitcoin. You know what I mean? The only reason people on the left are going to vote for Kamala is because of abortion or whatever. Right. You know what I mean?
She's a nicely curated archetype as well because she's a woman of color. She's a woman, first female president. This is kind of a liberal fantasy.
She's annoying. She's so annoying.
She's annoying. She's chirpy. And then you look at the majority of people who are liberal are so against Trump. So they're almost doing it in spite of him. So it's like you've got this perfect archetype who is built up to be the polar opposite of what Trump represents. And they're all going to just pour their energy and their votes into her because she's a black woman or she's a brown woman and she talks with a little bit of zest and she's like, I'm a fucking, I'm going to sit you down and tell you how it works. Big Mama's speaking. She's got that kind of energy, which goes against everything Trump stands for. And people like to see that guy fall on his face and shit. So yeah, she's, but as far as like goes, I'm so, Kamala Harris is like a non-factor to me. I don't know what she, I've seen a sum total of about 3 minutes of that bitch in my entire life.
Yeah, but she's just as qualified as Donald Trump. Donald Trump hasn't done shit. You know,
no one's done anything, exactly.
None of these guys have done anything. None of them have accolades that would be like, oh, maybe this guy's going to be an expert on foreign policy. All he does is run a fucking real estate empire.
Yeah.
If you've ever met a real estate agent or a fucking, they're the most annoying, smarmiest archetype of all time. You guys are getting schmoozed big time by a guy who literally assumes that everyone he's speaking to has an IQ of 4. And then anyone with an IQ higher than that is just going to be totally put off by this guy. This guy speaks to dumb people. That's who this fucking guy talks to. Yeah. Totally. He just speaks to the fucking dummies. So anyone who's a Trump supporter is a dummy. Anyone who's a Kamala supporter is also a dummy. Anyone who gives a fuck about politics is the biggest. is a retard. So it's like, who really gives a shit? At the end of the day, the final destination of where we're going is already preordained, my friends. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter who they put out there. They're putting fucking Hollywood actors out there. This bitch was dating Montel Williams. Trump was on The fucking Apprentice. This guy's been fucking doing absolutely nothing but being a socialite playboy for the last fucking, 50 fucking years, playing with his dad's money. Who gives a fuck what these motherfuckers think about anything? They don't know fuck all about anything. They don't know how the world works. They got no fucking clue. So I just think this is why I think people who get into politics are so stupid, because you got to understand that these people are not like us and they don't fucking care about us. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you do when you're in a situation like that? You walk the fuck away. You can watch it and see what the fuck they're doing and check back in for the antics and whatever, just to get a gauge of what's going on in the room. But as far as like giving a shit about what these guys are gonna do for you, they're not gonna do fucking nothing. They're gonna do nothing. You may as well get the fucking Cat in the Hat in there. Vote for Dr. Seuss. You might get better results.
But that's the direction that it's going into, right? Because what happened was Trump opened the floodgates for it to be seen as more of an entertainment spectacle than a political spectacle. I believe the previous version of politics catered to a specific audience, a very large audience, but this has expanded it to bring in, as you mentioned, the dumber crowd as well. Because previously, a lot of times political talk was on a level that they couldn't really understand. So Trump brought in, and even Kamala as well represents this, brought in these are personalities who can speak to people on that level. The meme crowd, the Pepe the Frog meme sharing crowd, the dumb fucks, like this is who the Taylor Swift listeners, like this is what these people cater towards them. It's like a younger demographic and shit. So I think what we've seen with the old style of politics is on the taper down, and we're actually going to see more celebrities, more public figures, more personalities, it's going to be more WWE-ified in the future going forward. And I think that's exactly what they want, because they just need to keep that charade rolling, because that keeps printing money.
Yeah, now that we've added the amount of money that can be made off of social media and streams, and the economy has opened up so much. This is why I just don't understand people who think the world's going to shit, everyone's losing jobs. It's like, who cares? You can go on the internet and make money now. You don't even have to fucking make an e-com biz or anything like that. If you're interesting enough and you have a valid opinion that people might be interested in hearing, or you have a product that people might be interested in buying, there's people who just write on the internet. They just write little stories and they post these long form tweets on the internet and they make money off of it, just off of Twitter and shit, off the impressions and whatever. It's like the sky's the limit right now for every single person on this planet. So I think when you look at a mass extinction culling of people, I think the types of people who are actually interested in politics, because I think the place that we're going as a fucking species and humanity is not going to be as polarized as what we're seeing right now on planet Earth, because I don't think people really, really care, because actual smart people don't give a fuck about what's going on in this election. They don't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
You're not that smart if you care. You're not
exactly.
And you never were smart if you really truly valued this stuff and put all your energy into it and believed that a savior was going to come sweep you up and change the country, and you could sit there passively and do nothing in your life, and someone would get elected and they'd be your guy and they would help you and your life would benefit dramatically. That's always been a pipe dream. That's always been a dream of the fool. That's never been a reality. And if you believe in that, if you believe that to be the case in any capacity, that this shit matters, you're not that smart.
Not at all. Like,
you're just lacking something.
I really think that there's a huge transformation going on when it comes to humanity, because you have to fade the masses, right? And the masses are all into politics. It's not about, let's fade Trump, or let's fade Kamala, or let's fade the liberals, let's fade the Democrats, let's fade the fucking Republicans, whatever. I think it's mostly just like you have to fade the whole system, because there's obviously a very, very new system all around us that's being built. We can witness this with our own two eyes every day. The old shit doesn't matter anymore. When you look at people who are like out there and happy and productive and living living lives that have to do with everything that they want to do instead of everything that they've been told to do, social programming, so on and so forth. This is literally the golden age of that. It's like the golden age of expression. So anyone who's taking part in that, like people like us doing this stream, as small as it is, it's a huge, huge paradigm shift for just the way you and me think now, right? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, it's a massive paradigm shift. Like, I think so differently about everything now that I'm just doing this.
Without a doubt.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what the fuck do I give a fuck who wins? Numbers are going to go up no matter what. We spoke about this the other day, Klyde. Remember, speaking about turning this into a single issue, a single issue thing. We were talking about, like, the other day, we were talking about what we like the crypto market and so on and so forth. And, the thing about it is that they've got all the right-wing guys, especially on certain parts of the internet, thinking that, if Trump wins, it's good for crypto. If Kamala wins, it's bad for crypto. So immediately, people are going to be going against their better judgment. Even if I'm not saying Kamala's a good choice. What I'm saying is that if you have a specific way of thinking and that drives with what Kamala Harris says or with what Donald Trump says, like if you're a liberal and you got a shit ton of Bitcoin and somebody tells you, look, dude, if fucking your girl wins, if your guy wins, your fucking coins are not going to be worth shit. She's going to fuck it all up. You're immediately going to switch your political allegiance if you have a fucking brain, right? Correct?
Right.
Exactly. And this is just what they're doing to these people. So the point of the single issue is that it means you're only invested in one thing. You're not invested in the person, what he's saying, what his politics are, what his policies are, his foreign policy, his fucking domestic policies. Like you don't care about that. You just care about, do my coins go up? So if your coins are going to go up, if the girl that you support wins, you're immediately going to switch over to Trump and you're going to be like, fuck it, I'm a Trump guy now, so on and so forth. And they polarize people in that way and they make them turn their fucking brains off and go with just that. But the fact of the matter is that it's going to go up whether it's Kamala or it's Trump. You just got to use this time wisely to sidestep all this shit so you can take advantage of probably what's going to be one of the biggest wealth transfers across the board, not just in crypto, but in whatever for the next, 2 years, maybe a year and a half or so, where we're going to see an epic fucking sonic boom of explosion of activity because the sun cycle has deemed it that way. So I think what they're really trying to do is get people away from their natural inclination, because right now, going through this awakening, I think the average person has turned into, I think more people are interested in expression, self-expression now than ever, whether they're dumb, whether they're smart, whether they're black, whether they're white. I think self-expression has turned into the biggest issue for people in their lives. They want to be able to express themselves. That's the whole point of not having a job. I can express myself at work. I can say what I want, do what I want. This is the whole point. So if we're entering a time where this is going to be the Renaissance, basically, there's a human renaissance on the horizon. I fully believe it. I firmly believe it. The next 100 years is going to be insane. The next 20 years is going to be insane. Forget about 100. But with all this stuff going on, I think they need to distract you. They totally need to distract you. So let's call the dumbest people, the people who actually care about politics, the people who are going to blow up a fucking, let's destroy some families this Christmas when they're talking about Trump and Kamala and blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fuck, man, it's fucked up.
There's so much incentive in that. And look, I've positioned myself into various different endeavors that, quite frankly, I'll benefit off a liberal meltdown. If Trump gets in there, that's gonna spike vices. People are gonna be freaking out. People are gonna be doing all kinds of shit that's gonna benefit me. So I wouldn't mind fucking Trump winning. But the reality is, I also don't give a fuck if Kamala wins, because I'll figure it out. I'll make anything work for me because I'm not dependent on that fucking system. And I don't put any energy or any emotions into that. But my question to you is, because my prediction is that, okay, if Trump wins, there will be either organic or there will be some organic outrage. There will be protests. There will be potential riots. There'll be marches in the street. There'll be bricks through fucking Nike stores and people running in there and stealing sneakers and TVs and shit. That is going to happen. I do believe that will happen if Trump gets in. If Kamala gets in, man, I just think there's just going to be a bunch of fucking angry tweets. I don't think anything's really going to happen. But again, as you mentioned, if you're in this digital space of discourse, where you can monetize discourse and that's what people can get paid for tweeting, right? People can get paid for putting out shit. That Trump losing will benefit that as well, because there's just going to be an immense amount of fucking discourse on the right wing side of things. So I think either way this goes, there's a way that you can make it work in your life and you can capitalize on it. And that should be your mindset with everything. Fuck the outcome. Fuck trying to change the outcome. What is the outcome, and how can you benefit from this outcome?
Mm-hmm. Prime example, man. We got a guy who's on this Substack, a listener right now, and I know he's listening right now. But remember when we had that when we talked about Trump the last time, and we talked about somebody should make masks and sell the fucking masks with the ear blown off for Halloween. There's a dude who's on this stack right now who took that advice and fucking ran with it, and now he's selling that shit. There's a fucking genius for you. There's a guy who's like, there it is, like, okay, Trump, I don't care. Like, he just, like, he acted on it. He totally acted on it. That was a fucking incredible.
That's a great fucking move, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. So that encapsulates everything that I just said, is that over there. So that's amazing, and that's the solution. You should be looking for lanes. Whatever happens, you should be looking for lanes similar to that, so that you can benefit something from it. So yeah, that's just a great fucking thing. Trump with his ear blown off. We dropped in the stream, and now it's fucking happening. It's came to fruition. You got a bunch of fucking people in mobile wheelchairs and shit at Trump rallies wearing fucking masks. It's hilarious.
Dude, he's probably printing right now, right up to Halloween. Like, Halloween's coming up in a week or so, right? This guy's definitely making some fucking jing off this.
If done correctly, that shit's gonna fucking skyrocket, and I'm pretty sure it already is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because the guy seems like he's a really fucking smart guy. From what I've seen, so I mean, like, yeah, man, you know what's gonna happen. So this is the world we live in now. There's just this bubbling cauldron that you can walk up to at any time and take a gigantic scoop out of it and feast upon it. That bubbling cauldron is like just normal society. Normal society is full of people who can't stand being alive. They can't handle it.
Yes.
That's basically what it is. These people cannot stand being alive. And so that always manifests with complaining. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you don't like being alive, you're going to be complaining about a lot of shit. A bad day here and there, sure. A bad driver, some guy almost hits you, some dude in front of you is like driving not slow, but just a little, like, unreasonably slow. Yeah, you're going to get a little pissed off. This shit happens. But, I mean, as far as your life being consumed by complaining about a man who's orange and works at McDonald's and has dementia, like, really think about it. Think about it. What this has nothing to do with anybody, because anyone who has enough money to care about politics doesn't care who wins. They just adjust accordingly. They keep tabs on politics because they're like, well, this way will be good for my bottom line, so on and so forth. So the ultra wealthy don't actually have any political allegiances. As much as people would like to think, oh, these rich guys that I know, they're Trump guys. Yeah, well, they're only Trump guys because they have lawyers that told them, here's what Trump's proposing, here's what might happen under the new regime, this is how it's going to affect your fucking, you know, these little companies you own and these assets that you have. These guys switch on a dime. The politics isn't a part of their identity. The money that they have is. The status and the fucking, and the you know, the wealth that they've accrued over years. That's all that matters to them, and that's the only reason, that's the most practical way of looking at things. Only keep track of politics if it's going to affect your bottom line. If it doesn't affect your bottom line, like literally 95% of fucking society, who fucking cares? I'll be honest, I'm not rich enough to care who wins this election, because I can just go wherever the breeze blows. If I had $200-300 million, yeah, I'd be pretty interested in politics. I'd be pretty interested in the direction. I wouldn't be fucking picketing and complaining and doing this. I might run for fucking city council or something so I can have more control of my money, which is all politics really is.
If I was an engineer who was a part of a highway project in Florida or something, and I had people connected to Trump and people who were higher up in that, in the Republican Party or something, I might have far more incentive to vocally and heavily push and put my money where my mouth is and stand behind a certain thing. And the same thing would apply if you were, I don't know, doing something that would be more favorable to be a Democrat, right? If you had a charity business in Manhattan or something.
Exactly, man. So, like, this is where I'm at with politics. Me personally, like, this is just what I think politics is. I don't think there's no Illuminati plan. I don't think any of these fucking, either candidate is going to stop mass immigration. I don't think that's going to fucking happen. Like, it's too late.
Mass immigration benefits everyone indirectly. And most people are too ignorant to acknowledge how much they are actually benefactors of mass immigration. When people hand out all those handouts and shit, benefits, social benefits and shit like that, that all goes back into the system. So if you run a business and you run a business that can benefit from that stuff, everyone's indirectly benefiting from immigration, right? Because that's where the cheap labor is. That's where all the fucking Uber drivers are. Like, well, you can have opinions on that. You can not like it, but in reality, there is a good chance that you are fucking benefiting from it. So it's kind of just hypocritical and stupid to be very vocally against that when you, as someone who lives in the Western world, is someone that benefits from that.
Yeah, I see where these guys are coming from. I get it.
Of course.
I understand
Absolutely.
what they're saying when it comes to this immigration and all this shit. And
I do too.
Like I see it. Like I know. Like,
what are you going to do about it?
Well, yeah. What can you do about it? Like you can only just move away from it because it's an unrelenting wave, and there is a lower caliber of immigrant that's coming into these countries. When intellectually wise, values wise, they don't really mix in with this culture. Like I come from immigrant stock, but like I'm born here and I'm fully westernized. I think in the ways of the West. And these people are not coming here to do that, man. Like I was telling Klyde, I know a woman that's lived in Canada for like 12 years. She's Korean and she doesn't care about learning English. This bitch, I remember I asked her, I was like, hey, how long have you been in Canada for? And I thought she was going to be like, 10 months or like 6 weeks or something. This bitch said she's been here for 12 years or something like that. 11 or 12 years. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're literally still fresh off the fucking boat. You don't know what the fuck is going on. And she has no intention of, I even said that to her. I was like, you don't really care about learning how to speak English or anything. She said, no, I don't have to. Like, I don't have to. Like, she's an acupuncturist or something like that. She's just like, yeah, I don't have to because, I just fucking serve the people. I just do what I need to do and I don't really, participate in anything that's going on here. So is that not the ultimate based person? Just come to a place and fully rape and exploit it? Like we talk about Vikings marauding all over the place. That's what these people are doing. They're coming here and they're just like, I'm going to ignore
Vikings,
they're pirates.
outlaws.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, that's the archetype that a lot of people lionize and look up to.
Yeah, and that's what these people are doing. They're just coming here, and they literally don't give a fuck about any of us. They have very, very low opinions of us over here. Besides, like, the Zuckerbergs and whoever else, like, when they run into an indigenous Western person, they're still going to be like,
it also
less than impressive.
It also boosts the GDP, so when you have a population increase, they can demand more money from the Federal Reserve and shit, and it opens up more government-style jobs.
Exactly.
And it pumps everything, man. That's why they're doing
everything. So it's just a massive money transfer.
There's gonna be some destructive elements of it, undoubtedly, but it just pumps everything, and that's really what they're all interested in. So you just got to look at that, analyze it, and fucking make some moves and capitalize. That's all it fucking boils down to, man. It's such a mental mind trap to fucking get reeled into this. But what do you think? What are just some fucking fun predictions that you have for whatever outcome comes out on November the 6th or whenever this election takes place?
Okay, well, November 6th, I'm predicting a Kamala Harris win.
Okay.
I already predicted that he was going to have dementia and that it was going to be a fucking story. I said this, like, literally, I must have
Probably
said this
a year
months
ago.
Yeah, I said it a while back.
9 months or something.
Yeah, I was like, this guy is going to have dementia. Not because I was analyzing him and looking at his mannerisms and shit. I was just
a hater.
Yeah, I was just like, how do these news cycles work? How does that fucking oscillator go back and forth and mash up the fucking left and right and scramble their brains? I was like, well, here's my prediction. I just made a prediction. I was like, they're just gonna say that they're just gonna leak it out that Trump is the one who's fucking demented. So I just got ahead of that. I just knew it was coming because I have such a, I know how these motherfuckers work. I know how this formula works when it comes to the media and shit like that. I know who the ops are, man. I'm the op destroyer. Like, it's in the bio on the Substack. I came onto the fucking Twitter as like a wrecking ball and I destroyed every op. There's nothing left. I popularized that fucking term, op. Not the term ops like how the rappers use it, but I mean, this is an op. This is a psyop. Like, I was the one who used that vernacular. I was the first one. And now all kinds of motherfuckers are saying this. Huge fucking dudes. Big fucking, huge presence media figures. They say the word op now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it on blogs and shit. So like, this is the thing. We're the op destroyers. So it's just so easy to see what this is. It's just an op, and they're just going to say he's demented, and they're just going to give everybody else a taste of their medicine, except it's just going to be slightly inverted. You know what I mean? So my prediction is that it's going to be a Kamala Harris win. And I think it's actually going to be a landslide victory win. Like, I think it's going to be like an embarrassing win. I think that the fact that they show you these odds every week about who's going to win in the gambling bets, I think that's reeling in all the dumb gamblers who are just going to be like, oh, the fucking Trump's got a 65% chance. Oh man, I'm going to, you know, make a safe bet and just put all my money on Trump. And they're just going to rug these fuckers, man, because they're getting the gamblers involved too. Why the fuck are they going to, they never used to show you who the odds of being a president was before. I never seen that shit until recently. That's a very recent phenomenon where they've sports cucked everybody. So now they got the sports cucks in, pumping their money into Vegas, Sin City, just to decide who's going to fucking win. And they're all going to get rugged. They're going to get rugged. So I think that's got something to do with it. So Trump wins, Kamala wins, Trump loses. Bitcoin tanks, like epic tank. It's going to be crazy. Everyone's going to sell, and I'm going to buy because I know that that's just the fucking, give these guys fucking 2 months of whining about, oh, and then when Kamala came in, it tanked, and then, oh, that's because of Trump, and, you know, now they're poor because they thought that the odds were stacked in Trump's favor, so they pumped more money into Bitcoin. Let's get some more crypto because the odds are good in Trump's favor. Don't think those two things aren't connected. The fact that they're showing you the odds of who's going to win very consistently in the media is because of that. They want to suck people into gambling and into crypto. So what they're trying to do is they're going to try to create a very attractive entry point for these institutions like BlackRock and shit. Cause sure the fuck enough, you're going to come out, they're going to say Kamala won, Bitcoin's going to tank, and all your favorite influencers from Andrew Tate to whoever the fuck that was pro Bitcoin in the last crash is going to come out and say, don't buy Bitcoin. It's over. It's tanked, bros. Move on to something else. And then it's going to fucking stratospherically rise when no one's looking. So that's what I think is going to fucking happen. So I'll be there to buy the fucking Kamala dip. I'm just hoping. I'm not investing in anything for the next, you know, a month and a bit. I'm not buying no stocks, no nothing. I'm just using all my money for that epic Bitcoin fucking dump. That's gonna come from that. So like, I'm looking at it from the practical perspective. I'm still invested in all that shit, crypto miners, so on and so forth. But in the end, I just think that this is a setup to really, really gut these right-wing people. You're not gonna get this fucking right-wing government that you think you're gonna get. They trick you and tell you, oh, Giorgia Meloni in Italy is against immigration. It's like, well, she's the prime minister. There's also a president who's above her. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you understood international politics, you'd be like, oh, well, she's not actually in charge. She's just a person that they're showing us. And they use the word prime minister, and that sounds like the top guy, but really there's a president of Italy too, who you probably don't know what his name is. You just know Giorgia Meloni because she's a fucking vehemently outspoken right-wing fucking talking head right now. So you're like, yo, Italy's getting based. They're getting more and more immigrants than you can even imagine. You're being psyoped on such a level. Remember, this is 1984. We're not waiting for 1984 to happen. Oh, 1984, that's what's going to happen. It's already happening. You're being heavily propagandized by everything that's going on out there. There's no chance that these countries are actually going against immigration and becoming more based and doing this and that. You're being fucking lied to, man. I don't believe it.
I just saw Italy raise the crypto capital gains tax from, I think it was 25 to 40%. So how
really?
fucking based, yeah.
Holy fuck. Yeah, there you go. Like, you see what's happening? Like, there's some of these countries are preparing for what's about to happen. They're preparing for this massive influx of people collecting their free money from this crypto fucking wave that we're probably going to have. It's not just going to be a crypto wave. It's going to be everything, because everything is tied into the sun cycle. You have to understand that if you're feeling very, very fucking excited right now and excitable, and I know you are, I know I'm feeling very excitable. I'm actually unseasonably excitable right now because we're headed into winter, and I got the energy of someone who's going into summer. I'm like amped every day. I'm out every day. I'm doing shit. I'm just like, it feels like fucking summer's coming. But that's because the sun is fucking charging me, because there's a sun cycle going on. So every single person on this planet right now has a much deeper reservoir of energy that more than likely is earmarked and bookmarked for, you know, like a higher plane of existence type level of activities, self-expression, art, love, all this shit. I think all this shit is on the table right now. And what they're doing is they're trying desperately to make you use that energy for bad, not good. So they're pulling you into politics, they're pulling you into gambling. So like guys like us, we're becoming very, prolific now. We're making streams. We got 300 fucking pieces of fucking, items on this blog right now, on the Substack right now. So like we're, if our lives were a fucking sun cycle chart, we'd be getting ready to peak right now because we're just using that creative energy. We have no animosity to the world as it is. We're just living in it and we're dealing with it as it is, not how we want it to be. Therefore, living in the present. That's how you actually live in the present, by the way. You have to deal with things as they are, not how you want them to be. This is why ambition is such a dirty word. Ambition is not what you think it is. Ambition takes you right out of the fucking moment. So they're trying to use all this extra energy and give you the ambition to become a political fucking dissident, somebody who's mad at politics. We have energy that's being given to us for better things than that. And the sad fact is that the majority of people aren't going to use it. They're just going to, give it right back to the beast system through politics and through watching the Diddy trial and all this fucking bullshit.
There it is. There it fucking is. Trump, Kamala, that's our fucking views on it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think's gonna happen? Like gut feeling, what do you think? Like what do you come November? Like just spit out a name. Who do you think?
I just, without doing any research, without fixating it on in any capacity,
go off the vibes.
I think Kamala. I just think Kamala, first female president. Okay. This is the direction of the world we're going in. Everyone's talking about how everything's getting more feminized. Everything's getting more left. Everything's getting more cucked. And if we run with the notion, which was even pushed by Trump, that this entire thing is fabricated and they're spoofing ballots and it's all illegitimate and they're rigging the whole thing. That was what a running president, someone who's running for president right now, said 3 years ago. He was pushing for it. He was out there vocally whining and throwing a tantrum saying this shit's rigged. Now he's back in there playing, which doesn't really make too much sense. I haven't heard his justifications or how he rationalizes that decision. But if we are running off that and this is the direction that we're going in, then of course, brown woman, first female president, the world's getting more fucking feminized. Everyone agrees this is the direction in which we're going in, and that's probably the likely outcome, I would say. I could also see Trump, whatever they choose for it to happen, there will be a specific reasoning for that to happen. There will be an economical reason. They're obviously looking to steer things in a certain way that can be favorable for people with big money. And that can also be favorable for people who deal with small money if they're switched on enough. But I think Kamala Harris, I haven't looked at polls. As you said, all those little pieces that come out, oh, she's got 60% of voters and this, that, and I don't believe any of that shit. Where's that coming from? Who's counting? How do they count? Apparently you can digitally submit a vote, or there's little boxes that you can put it in. I used to think you'd have to go on a specific day and line up and actually pen and paper write it in. So they're doing mail-in ballots and shit. The whole thing seems very prone for rigging, even though I'd say even the elections of old, when they were actually physically putting ballots in, those were rigged as well. I think Kamala Harris is the direction in which they want things to go. But maybe they throw Trump in there to shake things up a little bit and get one of those liberal meltdowns, because there's a lot of fucking cake on the table if that happens. But yeah, gut feeling, for no reason, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then what do you think, like, what type of world are we living in after, in a Kamala world or a Trump world? Let's just talk about like boots on the ground. How are people going to be? Like what is the tone and the tenor of,
I'd say nothing's going to change. Society. I'd say there will be, as I said before, I think if Trump gets in, there will be actual rebellion taking place. There'll be potential riots, and there'll be, George Soros will be putting pallets of bricks out in Minneapolis, and there'll be all this kind of shit happening without a doubt. I think if Kamala wins, no, there's not going to be any outrage. There's just going to be a bunch of fucking discourse. There's just going to be a bunch of angry conservatives on the internet, blogging, writing tweets, doing all kinds of fucking media appearances, and that's just gonna happen. I don't think anything's gonna happen if Kamala gets in. From as far as shaking things up, I think everything's just going to run the same. And I think if Trump gets in, everything's going to run the same as well, other than a few riots here and there.
So who do you think will riot? You think like because the blacks can't
Liberals
riot
will
because
always riot.
they're for Trump, right? Like there won't be a BLM thing because BLM's for Trump now, right?
So many people, if you were to actually talk to regular Americans,
Like
I
a green
think,
hair or a blue hair, then you think
yeah, I
they're
think
gonna riot?
yeah, liberals are going to fucking riot. They always riot. Look, they're always the one that riots because conservatives don't riot. They just get mad and seethe and shit. They don't ever fucking riot. When was the last time a Republican riot took place? It's always the shit libs rioting. Fucking take back, what was it again? Take back Wall Street or something or whatever the fucking case. It's
Occupy
always
Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. It's always the shit libs. They're the ones that fucking go out there, the Antifa types. They're the ones that get loud and get angry and go out there and march in the streets and throw fucking tantrums. Conservatives are just too fucking, they're too nice. They're too whatever. They just don't ever fucking do it. They're passive people.
Well, conservatives
They're
are they're always the ones that have more to lose. Okay?
Right.
Like, it's always a conservative that has stuff to lose. So it's their own worst enemy. They have to play defense. You know, when you're dealing with somebody who owns a business, they won't say anything political.
Conservation. Right.
Exactly. So like that whole mass of people is by design made to sit on their hands and turn the other cheek. These guys are perfect for Christianity. They're perfect for religion because Jesus told them to turn the other cheek, and that's all these fucking guys do because they know that it's not even about the laws. It's like, okay, well, what if I take matters into my own hands? Well, I can't. I have a business and I have a family. Like, that's who a conservative is. This is why we've always said, like, you have to be conservative inside the house and liberal outside the house. That's the mark of a fucking genius. You just
Absolutely.
do it conservatively in your house, and then you run it that way. And then when you're outside, you can be aggressive now by being a hypocrite. You can go out there and be like, yeah, gay, yeah, yo, fuck him in the ass, do this, do that, yeah, girls rule, let's rock, fucking girl power. You can do all that shit and just use it for your advantage. But when you come into your house, it's like there is no fucking gay, there is no SJW, there is no fucking tranny flags, there's none of that shit going on. You're just living like a normal human being. But these conservatives haven't figured out how to just be wolves in sheep's clothing. The liberals have. Mm-hmm. Because the liberals are smart, because they're the predators, because they have something to lose. They will offer their lives for something to eat. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever seen a fucking wolf try to take down a fucking moose? It's not an easy thing to do. They will die in the process. They could get kicked and that's their last meal. Kicked in the stomach, laceration from this herbivore, but still they eat it, but you know, they still die. Like, that's the thing, man. The conservatives don't have shit to, or the liberals have nothing to lose. They will do whatever it fucking takes to get power so that they can become conservatives. Because you better believe Zuckerberg is fucking conservative as fuck in his house. You think there's drag race brunch going on at his house? No fucking chance. But he's telling you to go to drag queen lunch or whatever the fuck, so he can fucking farm all your fucking photos that you put on your Facebook the next day, you fucking dumb fucks.
That's
it's
true.
the truth, though, right?
They can afford to riot. The liberals can afford to riot because who do the liberals consist of? It consists of people who are benefits of the social system, the unemployed, people on food stamps, people who are getting government handouts, people who are on these kind of payouts from the government, right? That's sort of that more like socialist style system. So they've got the time on their hands to go do this. Whereas the conservative, he needs to milk fucking cows in the morning. He's got a lumber trading business or a lawn mowing business or something. He's not going to go on the streets and fucking throw bricks through the Nike store.
Exactly.
He won't steal from the Nike store because he believes in an honest fucking dollar.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, this is the thing. Like, this world does not reward pacifism. It reacts. It reacts to assertiveness. And then how you deal with that reaction is how you navigate the world. You see? This world does not, like, in sports, defense wins championships. But in the fucking real world, you know, we can discuss the merits of both defense and offense, depending on, you know, where you are at any given time. The problem is that fucking conservatives are always playing defense. Like, a meme is defense. A fucking law.
Yeah, exactly.
A bylaw that the libs pass is fucking offense.
It's in the word. Conservation is defense.
Mm-hmm. You're stopping things from encroaching on your territory. You're playing defense. You're backing up with your hands up in the air. You're afraid to push forward because I might lose a little bit of land if I fucking, you know, push forward and then, you know, they break my line and now I gotta do this and there's some people in my fucking land now. It's like, Scared money doesn't make any money anymore.
And we've spoken numerous times on the benefits of playing defense. Defense is
exactly.
It's 50-50. That's a massive part of the game, but you can't be all defense.
But defense is what it is playing defense in life is being conservative at home, being conservative with your money, making conservative investments, and then playing around with a little bit and shit. You know what I mean? Doing all this stuff. This is how you play. That's defense. But I mean, in the classic sense of the word, that these guys that these people are playing it. It's more so like just like the league's worst ranked defense. It's like, yeah, you're playing defense, but you're playing defense worse than all the other teams in the league. That's who the conservatives are. Like, that's just who they are. They suck at defense. Like,
look at the whole Trump thing. Look at the Trump thing. Oh, shucks, we got robbed. They rigged the system. We better go in there and we can win it legitimately this time. What a fucking joke. As a concept, look how flawed and retarded that is.
Oh, it's fucking insane. Like, how could you, it's over. Like these guys wanted a recount. They want this, they want that. It's like, people forget, man. People forget that George W. Bush stole the election from Al Gore back in 2000 or 2002 or whenever the fuck it was. There was a time when the Republicans, the right, stole the vote from the left. It's just that people are so dumb and they don't have any sort of sense of time or place. So they think, they're so narcissistic that they think this is the first time this has ever happened to anyone in the world, and now I'm triggered. You know what I mean? This shit's been fucking happening to people since time immemorial. It doesn't matter. We've made zero progress. We have made zero progress. There's a guy trying to go to fucking Mars right now. You know what I mean? And that shit's not gonna fucking happen. You ask me, but my opinion on that, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that's the same sort of distraction for quote unquote smart people. Like the way the dumb people are getting caught up with politics, I think the smart people are getting caught up on Mars. Absolutely. You know, you got a bunch of people. Well, you got one group focused on the past, you got another group focused on the future, and nobody's fucking focused on what the fuck is going on right now. So Musk is going to cost everybody. Musk is the greatest deceiver of all time right now. Like when I look at who's the most evil guy right now, when I think about like Soros and fucking Klaus Schwab and fucking, Vlad Dracula and all these supposed Freddy Krueger, all these fucking supposedly evil people that have existed over in history. Right now, my top guy is fucking Elon Musk. That guy's number one on my list. That guy's the Candyman right now.
I never got sucked into that guy. That guy's just a fucking, I'm perplexed at what people see in him. Hope, I think. That's what it is.
I don't know what it is, man, but he speaks on a very base level. This motherfucker retweeted something that had a community note. He retweeted a false headline today. This dumb motherfucker. And then there was a community note that was like, this is a fake fucking article. Like, here's the real article. Then I clicked on the link and I was like, what the fuck? This guy actually just put out a fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's fucked. It's just a joke right now, man. It's such a joke. It's like you can't focus on any of this shit. No one is going to save you. And this is the greatest time to have nobody come and save you. Because it's the easiest time ever to save yourself. You can actually save yourself. We're in that era of like, cosmic energy filling our cells and our photons up with as much, with a perpetual fucking energy machine right now that we can use solely for ourselves, to lift ourselves up and to lift up the people around us and, make some money on the internet doing some good shit. I think we do good shit. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything negative about what we do when it comes to these streams. Like, I like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're doing a real service to the world right now.
I think so too.
I know there's some people out, I know we are. I know we are. We have the testimonials from people. We speak to people who are on the stack. We have conversations with them. Like, everyone is like us, man. That's the thing. It's not like we're like the only game in town. Like, you are your own game as well. Like, you could just, listen to what we got to say because we're fucking hilarious and we're smart. But at the end of the day, everything's inside of you anyways. We're just giving our perspectives, and our perspective helps us to just march forward in this fucking world, this clown world. But
this will be the only mindset that frees you. And that's a fucking fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we're talking about freedom here, right? Like, freedom of expression. That's what everyone's issue is when it comes to, like, oh, young people don't like to go out and drink because they're afraid that people are going to record them and put it on the internet, and it's freedom of, and they can't express themselves. It's like, yeah, well then walk away from the fucking Instagram and shit. Walk away from all these fucking apps and like start sucking in some of that cosmic energy that's actually going to give you way more dopamine than any amount of likes could ever give you. Any amount of fucking retweets or followers. The shit that you can do now and with the energy that we're being given is like unheard of when it comes to you being as selfishly, cognizant of what you want to be and what you want to do and what you want to say. You can do whatever the fuck you want now. And, this is why everything's so heavily polarized right now, because they need to stop us from having the realization that we have this power right now. So Musk, John McAfee, fucking the Mark Zuckerberg, all of them are just distracting us right now. They're like, oh, look over here. I got a VR. Dude, you want to fucking hear something so funny? So listen to this. Speaking of this, this afternoon I wanted to go and get my fucking MacBook fixed, right? Right. So I drove, like I told you today, I was at the mall, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go there because I had to go to the MacBook store, and I ended up buying a pan too, just from the fucking Williams Sonoma store. I just saw like a nice fucking pot, and I was like, I need that. So I just went and bought that while I was there, but I was really there to look at my fucking, to get my computer looked at, and I didn't realize I needed to make an appointment. They were like, oh, you can come back next Thursday at 11. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm not making any appointments with you. I just want to do it on the spur of the moment. I'm not going to plan this shit. I live in the moment. When I feel like right at that moment, I wanted to get my computer fixed, and now I don't anymore. So my computer doesn't exist to me anymore. I don't care. And when it does, when I do think about it, then I'll make a fucking appointment. That's how I operate. So I leave the place, and as I'm walking out of the fucking Apple store, which is full of fucking nothing but freaks and geeks, there's like 4 dudes sitting at a table with that fucking, the Apple Oculus thing with the VR headset thing. Oh my God, dude, they looked fucking hilarious, man. The way they were moving their hands around and shit. And they're all like, and I walk by these people and I look at the girl who's serving them, like taking care of them. And I'm like, can these motherfuckers see me right now? Because I'm like waving at them and shit. And they were not fucking looking at me. And I was like, can these motherfuckers see me right now? And she just kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And I was just like, kind of like amused by the whole thing. And it's like wild nerds in action, out in the world. I just thought it was kind of funny that you mentioned that, but that's where people are, right? Heavily distracted by these little toys and shit. It's like, you know what I mean? Like we have the power to do different things right now.
Exactly, but that's exactly where those fucking people want to be. So you can only help people who want to be helped. You can only pull up people who want to be pulled up, and they must do it themselves. They must do all the heavy lifting themselves for their own life. You can only throw something out there and hope that they take it and run with it. But the majority of people want to be sedated. They want to be distracted. They want to strap on the fucking Oculus, and they want to go to digital fantasy space world. And fixating on politics and fixating on all these other things is a variation of that. They want to remain engaging with their screens. They want to remain reactive. They're not the cause in their environment. They are the effect of things. And that's the way things are going to go. And you're going to see more and more people falling into that, because the way we live now, it's a constant battle of who is at the cause and who is at the effect of things. And in what capacity of your own life are you at the cause of things, and are you at the effect of things? So people are just going to completely get more sucked into this shit. They're going to get pulled into this. We've seen it happen right before our very eyes. The phone, as an example. Everyone's screen time's gone up. Everyone's pulled into the shit. Everyone's interacting online. Everyone's got a little online world and a real world, and they never quite merge together, but people are spending more time in the online world than they are in their real world. And it's just going to keep going down this hole. So you either use this thing for good, but even if you use it for good, you're only going to be able to speak and communicate to those people who are actually listening and who are looking at how they can use this stuff to benefit themselves for their own good as well. So that's just what it is. And that's a very freeing thing to accept and acknowledge, that the majority of people are just completely fucking calcified. They're sucked into this shit, and they don't want to be saved. They're not looking to be saved. They're actually looking to be exploited. They're actually looking for people to treat them like fucking barn animals, because that's how they view themselves. And that's the way they want to view themselves. They want to bury their fucking head in the sand. They want to strap on the Oculus set. That's that piece of technology. Although I'm sure it's cool. You can probably play fucking tennis on it, and you can fucking watch porn and do all this crazy dumb shit. And it seems very satisfying and pleasurable or whatever. But that piece of technology, that helmet, represents something. It's symbolic of something that has been happening for the last, I'd say since the invention of, or the incorporation of the family TV system.
Mm.
This is just a more advanced version of that.
Exactly, because they got you, because now they're actually in your mind. Because they had to get into your house before they could get into your mind.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? So they had to like infiltrate with whatever technology they had at the time. The radio was the first thing, you know.
There it is.
I'm sure
the radio.
the newspaper was probably first. Like, get these people on the newspaper, and then we'll get them the radio,
The
and
funnel,
we'll
right?
get it live.
The funnel. They upsold you to the Oculus. They got you on the newspaper. They got you on the radio. They got you on the TV. They got you on the internet. And each time you bought in, you thought that was going to be the better thing. So people were like, "Oh, the internet. This is great. It's uncensored. It's free. I don't have to." Remember when it was a flex to not have a TV and use the internet instead? And now it's no longer that, because the internet's just feeding you the same garbage that a TV would have fed you. It's all controlled. It's all curated. It's all pushed in a certain direction. The internet isn't what it used to be. You can't stumble upon underground web forums and shit like that and actually tap into some information that's useful. The internet is homogenized as fuck now. The internet, you gotta really be keyed in, and you gotta really know how to use this tool and where to look to find anything that can actually save you. And or you can only save yourself, but you need to be locked in to find anything that is actually useful for you to incorporate in your media diet.
100%, man. You gotta, like, working against that algorithm, like pushing back, leaning back into that fucking relentless tidal wave of shit you just don't need to see coming your way, takes a lot of fucking effort. Like, you need to turn the internet, your immediate area of the internet, you need to hack out a little space. You need to be walking through with a machete, cutting down vines, hacking off the limbs off the trees, and just, you know, clearing a pathway for you to walk through clearly. Otherwise, that algorithm's going to engulf you with nothing but black Twitter and fucking cows getting run over by trains and Jeeps hitting fucking poles when they're fucking stunting on trains. Like, this is all they're going to fucking show you. So you need to like fight back. The only way to fight back is to be a creator. And the essence of being a creator is just, you want to express yourself in some specific sort of way. And it just so happens, like we said earlier in the stream, we're being given that power right now. We're giving the power of expression. And we also have in our hands the ultimate tool ever invented to allow a single person to express themselves, have influence, and leverage who they are. And we're totally using it for the wrong fucking reasons, the majority of people. But some are harnessing this and turning themselves into like literal gods right now.
Absolutely. Because the gold is never going to be easy to find. You're always going to have to truly have the intent of digging, and you've got to know where to look. You've got to know where to look to find the gold, because the majority of shit this stuff's feeding you they're feeding you for a reason. You're eating out of the trough that they want you to fucking eat from. That's why all the nuggets of gold are never easy to come across. You have to truly dig, and that's kind of been a representation of what we've done, right? You gotta zig where everyone else zags, and you gotta look for things. You gotta actively go out and look for things. You can't just expect things that are being fed to you to benefit you. That's not how it works. Everything that's fed to you is fucking bullshit. Even in reality, with the food you eat, there's a fucking 7-Eleven, there's bullshit on every corner, but it's hard to get the quality good stuff. The same thing applies for information. The same thing applies for entertainment, and whatever you're digesting, whatever you're using the internet to digest, that's going to be applicable. That same law is applicable to that.
Exactly, man. Like, it's just I don't know, man. I think this is just a calling, man. Like, there has to be some sort of calling. It's a
eugenics program. It's definitely being weaponized in that way. It's actively being weaponized, but it's also just the natural way that these things work. I think it's like a 50-50 thing. We've spoken about this before. There's definitely people who have the intent to try and use this and try and poison people through this, but this is also just the outcome of a tool like this being available.
Yeah, it's just a natural process that occurs inside of our DNA. Is, you know, somewhere hidden away, locked away, are the tools, the instruments of our own demise, right?